Have you been told that your baby has DDH or clicky hips and you're not sure what you're supposed to do about it? Hi there, it's Neesha from My Favourite Physio. In today's video, I'm talking about developmental dysplasia of the hips, DDH, or commonly known as clicky hips. Here in our practice, we have recently seen a family who came to us with a newborn baby diagnosed with DDH. The family wasn't very sure what that means or what they're supposed to do about it. So I thought I'll jump in and talk a little bit more about developmental dysplasia of the hips in newborn babies. DDH refers to the hip joint in babies' hips, where we have the thigh bone and the pelvic bone make up our hip joint. DDH could mean to a hip that is totally dislocated outside of the pelvic bone, or it could mean a hip that is dislocatable, that pops in and out of the pelvic bone, or it could actually mean a shallow pelvic bone where the hip joint just seems to bounce around and swim about in it. All of these three case scenarios refers to baby's hips not being well formed. The consequence of doing nothing when your baby has DDH means that your child will end up walking with a waddling gait when they are trying to walk. That's because the hip joint is bouncing in and out or popping in and out. Some babies where their hips are totally dislocated, they would actually not be able to walk. Not doing anything about DDH early on means that your child will later on require extensive surgery to repair that hip joint. And even then, they don't get a good normal hip joint formed. That ultimately means that your child will grow up having hip pain and back pain very early on in their life and be very limited in their function and gross motor skills. Running, hopping, jumping, skipping will be almost not possible for some of these children. So what should you do with DDH? If somebody says to you your child has DDH, the first thing you need to be doing is to see a pediatric physiotherapist, have them assess your baby, have them put on a pelvic harness on your baby, which is a special harness for baby to help baby's hips get in the right position to develop their pelvic bone and head of their thigh bone well to get that good healthy hip joint. When done correctly, DDH can be effectively corrected and resolved. We can help babies have healthy hip joints for the rest of their lives. Leaving it for too long and waiting can actually result in really disastrous consequences like not having a proper hip joint or needing extensive surgery or really not having a healthy hip for the rest of their lives, always suffering from hip pain and early arthritis. So if you're out there and you've got a newborn baby, has your baby had a hip check? Does your baby have DDH? If your baby has been diagnosed with DDH, you really need to see a pediatric physiotherapist as soon as possible. Don't wait and watch and hope for it to get better. If you're concerned about your baby's hips, why don't you ring us here at My Favourite Physio? The number to ring is 02-9790-4233. And if you know somebody out there who has a baby and someone mentioned clicky hips about their baby, why don't you like and share this video with them? Until next time, have a fantastic day. Bye.